welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Birch and Lily, where I talk about all of the fun nitty goodness that I have been up to over the past couple weeks. Today is October 22nd, I believe, and I have a regular podcast episode. Thank you so much for your patience with me skipping an upload last week. I really appreciate it. I took the time to just rest and recuperate, and I'm feeling a lot better now. So I really appreciate your patience and your understanding with that. And yeah, we're back with a regular podcast episode. Before we jump on into that, there are a few places you can find me on the internet. birchandlilyfiber.com is my website. You can find me on Instagram at birch.and.lily. Everything else, everything I talk about, it's all always linked down below in the description. The other thing that I did want to quickly let you know about is that this Sunday, October 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I am going to be having another Happy Little Accidents update. I did this, I think, closer to the beginning of the summer, and basically I just save up all my skeins of yarn that were maybe test skeins for coming up with a new colorway, or they had one weird little speckle on it. Just little things that make those skeins so that I can't sell them as like a main colorway, but there's nothing wrong with them. They're beautiful. So I sell them at a discounted rate so that I can help make room in my craft room for other yarn. So if that's something that interests you, maybe you've wanted to try out my yarn before and you just haven't been able to, definitely check out this sale on October 29th at 8 p.m. That is all I have announcement-wise. Let's jump on in. I'm wearing a finished object. I really like how this one turned out, and I've learned something, which is always fun. So this is my Skyline Pullover. It was a pattern I'm testing, or I did test for Tori. It's now live, so if you are looking to grab this pattern, it's available now. I knit this out of Explore Knits and Fibers, their Rockies DK base, in the colorway Joshua Tree National Park. And I did knit the size 4. So now that my chair is out of the way, I'll give you a little look. It's really cute. I think the only thing I would maybe change, and I should know better by now, is that if the sweater calls to be about 12 inches, it's probably going to be a little too short for me, and I should knit it to about 14 or 15. I'm happy with the length. I think it's fine with leggings or like high-waisted jeans, but I wouldn't be comfortable in like a low-waisted jean or lower rise leggings. So that was something I should know better, but I have learned. Otherwise, I love how it fits. I love the detail running down the sleeve, this rib detail. So it has a saddle shoulder construction. So you start with this rectangle here on both sides, and then you pick up stitches around that rectangle to shape the rest of the body of the sweater. And then, yeah, the cool detail about this is that the ribbing that you have on that saddle shoulder, you then continue down the rest of the sleeves. Otherwise, it's just a nice, simple stockinette body with 1x1 ribbing everywhere. And I think it's a really nice, like, fall into winter sort of piece. Not terribly warm, not too tight around my neck, but it's really cute. So, what did I learn? I don't think this is going to be an issue for many people, because not many people have spin dryers kicking around. But for the past little while, I've been putting my sweaters, after I block them, through the spin dryer. And the past 2 sweaters that I did that with, this one, the Skyline, and my Alder, both for some reason, when they dried, they hadn't grown at all. And that's not normal for superwash yarn and blocking. Usually with superwash yarn, I'm gonna get I've always got a little bit of growth out of my garments, and I was like, this is really weird. And then it was, I think, the knitting PT, Andrea, who was talking about how she had blocked a sweater. She's talking on her podcast about how she had blocked a sweater and she had left it in the water too long and it grew too much. And I was like, wait a second. What if me putting my garments through the spin dryer is doing the opposite thing and it's shrinking them a little bit? like the same effect that if I was to put it through the dryer on a air fluff or like a really low heat setting. And so if you look at my, actually maybe I'll put some on the screen, my finished object photos of my Skyline pullover compared to how you just saw it fitting me, you'll see that it fits quite differently, and that is because I blocked it again and I didn't put it through my spin dryer. And so I did that also with my alder sweater and noticed the same result, that it did grow a little bit and it came out to the size I expected it to be. So that is a lesson learned for me, in that I will not be putting blocked items through the spin dryer anymore unless maybe they've grown more than I expected and I do want to shrink them a little bit. I'm gonna have to do the old-fashioned route and let them dry for a couple days and put some fans on them or something. I'm not gonna have the quick, easy route of putting it through the spin dryer and having it dry the next day. So that was a lesson learned for me. I don't think it hurt anything. It's a very easy fix. You literally just block it again. So I did that with this and my alder, and I'm really, really happy with how they're fitting now, and the measurements are seeming more correct, and yeah, it's just much better. So the other thing I did notice with the Skyline pullover in particular, I didn't pin it out at all when I blocked it the first time, and I regretted that because with the ribbing it just caused the bottom to cinch in. But in the project sample, like the pattern sample photos, and just in general from what I'd seen other testers do, their bodies had such a nice straight, like flowy almost bottom. And I knew right away when I took it off the blocking mats and saw how it had dried the first time that I wasn't fully happy, but I had to take pictures the next day, so I just dealt with it. I might retake the photos eventually. Who knows if I will or not, but I'm much happier with the fit of my Skyline now that I've learned that little blocking thing. So yeah, otherwise everything else went great with this. I enjoyed the whole process of knitting it. I'm trying to think, I may have slightly shortened the sleeves. I don't have my actual knitting notebook here with me. I finished this like right after I recorded last sit down podcast episode, so I think I shortened the sleeves ever so slightly. The body is the correct length though, and the collar, like everything else, is the correct length. I did do my inside out ribbing trick this time as well, as per usual. All I do, and I'm going to try at some point to sit down and record an actual YouTube video for this, because I have one on Instagram, but because it's too long for the YouTube short format, it wants to upload it as a vertical video, which I don't want. So I'm gonna have to sit down and refilm it the next time I have some 1x1 ribbing available to do so. But that's beside the point. What I do is, on my final row before I'm going to start my ribbing, I do a German short row on the very last stitch, and then I knit all of my ribbing inside out. So technically, what is now the inside of my ribbing would be what my 1x1 ribbing, like the outside of it, normally looks like, or the right side. But I do that German short row so that my wrong side becomes the right side, because the inside of my 1x1 ribbing for some reason is a lot neater looking. I think that's something a lot of people I notice have had issues with. So really simple trick. You could probably even do a wrap and turn if that's something you're more familiar with. I just find German short rows to be the easiest, but I just do a short row of some sort to flip it so that I'm then knitting in the opposite direction or inside out, and then I get that beautiful neat ribbing. So yeah, really, really easy trick, but I think it works quite well. Finishing wise, I did do also a tubular bind off on everything on here. I love how that looks in a 1x1 ribbing. I have learned I hate it in a 2x2 ribbing, but 1x1 I think it looks really polished. So I did that on the sleeves, the hem, and the collar as well. The collar on this one is picked up and knit afterwards. Little trick if you hate knitting the collar at the end, I usually, once I have like a decent amount done in my body and I've like already split for sleeves and stuff, I'll just take a minute, take a break from the body and do the collar so it's out of the way and done. It also makes it a lot nicer for taking Instagram photos. But yeah, I like having that done and out of the way so I don't have to worry about it. While I'm thinking about it too, I just love this detail here on the collar. This is just... these increases or decreases? I can't remember. I think they are, yeah, those are decreases. But they create this really beautiful line on both sides of the collar. I don't know, just something added that I think is really pretty. But otherwise, love how this turned out. I wasn't sure I was going to be a huge lover of a variegated, like fully variegated sweater, but I think this colorway is like subtle enough and watercolory enough that I really enjoy it. I have got a little bit of wear out of this so far. I've worn it a couple times and I am really happy with the outcome. I think I have about 6 inches of positive ease on this. I'm not 100% sure. Again, I can't remember. My notes in my podcast, I should really bring up my knitting notebook every time I record because that's where I take all my good notes, and my podcast notes are just like, this is the yarn, this is the size unit, and that's about it. So yeah, anyways, love how it turned out. I did finish one other item and I don't have it here with me, and I forgot to take a really good photo of it, so I just have a quick one that I sent to my friend who I was knitting it for, that I'm going to put on the screen. But I did knit a big barely bonnet. This is a pattern by Pure Stitches. I knit it for my friend. She wanted it for a gift for a baby shower she was going to, and so I quickly whipped it up for her. It was a very quick knit. If you need a gift knit for a baby, I would highly recommend this one. And while I don't have the finished object here with me, I do have the yarn. I knit this out of Baby Bee Sweet Delight prints in the color Kitty. She picked this out. I ended up holding it double so that I could get the proper gauge for the pattern, but it's just a really nice white yarn with pretty little speckles of pinks and blues and purples. So I used, I think, about half of the skein to knit up the hat. Like I said, I held it double, and then I was going to knit socks out of it for her as well, but that was about the time I got sick and I didn't get them finished in time, unfortunately. But yeah, knit that big barely bonnet. I knit the size 0 to 3 months for that one, and it was really fun. Yeah, very simple knit. It's all in garter, and the ears, they have a little bit of seaming, but I didn't find it too tedious. It was a little annoying to attach them to the top of the hat. It took me a couple tries. I halfway attached them, realized I didn't like it, and had to undo them a couple times. But yeah, otherwise it wasn't too hard at all. But if you absolutely hate seaming, I wouldn't recommend it. So those are my finished objects, but I obviously have some works in progress. One being just the swatch that I just did today, so it's wet, but I did bring it in here to show you because I'm really excited about it, and I'm gonna have probably a decent amount of it done by the next time I record. I am testing the Daft Days cardigan for Rebecca Clow, and this is going to be her Advent cardigan. She's going to have a shawl version with the same texture pattern on it as well, but both patterns, both the cardigan and the shawl, are made to use with all of your Advent skeins. So it is a DK weight pattern, but she writes it with the thought in mind that you would hold your fingering weight skeins double. So I just did the swatch for it this morning, and I think it's really pretty. I think though, let's talk about this first. So I'm going to be knitting the size 4, and it is a bottom-up cardigan with an applied button band afterwards. and I'm knitting this out of my own yarn. So this is all Birch and Lily Fiber Co. Birch DK. Obviously I'm not knitting this out of an advent calendar because, well, no, I don't have one kicking around. I've used all of my previous year's advent calendars. So I'm just going to be using 4 colors for mine. I know some people are doing like full-on rainbows. I'm sure I've popped a picture of Rebecca's on the screen already. I think hers is a rainbow with 14 colors, but it's going to be really customizable in that you can use as many different colors as you want. You could use all 24 skeins from your advent. You could use 14 or 15 skeins like she has. There's lots of options. There's no real rules to it, but I think after doing this swatch that I want to, so right now each of these stripes are 2 rows, and I think I want to double the thickness of my graphite rows, so the dark like charcoal gray. I think I want to double those so that the color stripes look a little bit thinner than those, because the graphite is going to be my main color that I use throughout, and I think I want it to stick out just a little bit more. So yeah, this is blocking. I'm 99% sure I hit gauge though, looking at my swatch, and I did measure it right after I blocked it and like squeezed all the water out. I'm plopping it around now, which is probably not helping this situation, but that's okay. Anyways, the dark charcoal is Graphite. Then the next one, that's Kindred Spirits, Christine, Serendipity, and JiIllian. So these are from some of my, I think like my spring and summer updates this year. But yeah, I really, really like how they look together, and I think it's going to make a super cute cardigan. So letting this swatch dry, and then I should be able to cast that on within the next couple days. The next thing, this is what I have mainly been working on in the 3 weeks since we sat down for a podcast episode, and I've got a lot of progress done, and I'm almost done. So that's good because technically it was due on the 20th, but Laura did give us all a little bit of a grace period to finish, so I'll be finished within that grace period. I'm not worried. I was able to get in my tester notes for this and everything. I did some math to figure it out, so all good. But this is my Sibling Sweater My Size, and I'm going to stand up because it's pretty big now. So yeah, it's almost done, which is crazy. Both my sleeves are completely done. My collar's done, and now I just have one more stripe on the body of the lighter color, the lighter pink, and then the ribbing, and it is done. So the beautiful feature about this pattern by Laura Penrose is, I'm sure you can see those gorgeous stripe panels where all of the increases are done here on the backs of the shoulders. It's just so pretty. I love how simple it is, but so beautiful at the same time. I'm really excited to wear this with a pair of jeans and do like a little French tuck in the front. I am knitting this sucker massive, so I'm going to have about 15 inches of positive ease, so it's going to be a really big, cozy, squishy, snuggle up sweater, and I wish you could feel the squish of this collar. It's so soft and so squishy. So you can see last time where I was here with this progress keeper, I hadn't even connected the body, the front and the backs of the body yet, or picked up for the sleeves. So I have done a lot. I have been putting most of my attention into this so that I can get it finished. Also just because it's taking me a lot longer because it's so much bigger than anything I've ever knit. This is the largest like circumference sweater I have ever knit. So it's obviously taking longer because there's a lot more stitches. It's also on a smaller gauge. It's made to be knit with like a light DK, more sport weight yarn. I think the gauge is 21 or 22 stitches per inch. So not far off from a DK, but definitely it's a lighter weight, and so it's taking a lot longer, but totally worth it. 100% worth it. With this, again, I did knit all of my ribbing my 1x1 ribbing inside out, and I have finished both of the cuffs with a tubular bind off. This collar is a folded over collar, so I did knit it to twice the length it was meant to be, and then went and sewed it down around on the inside of my sweater. And yeah, otherwise I think the pattern gives options for either just a full-on like normal ribbed hem, full circle. I don't know if there's a name for that now that I'm thinking about it. Or you can do a split hem. I was thinking about a split hem, but I'm not really a huge fan of how that looks tucked in, like with a French tuck. So I decided that just a regular hem was going to be what I wanted. Oh my gosh. I just wish you could feel the squish. It's so squishy. It's a beautiful pattern. So this is the size 6, and I think what I normally would knit would be about the 4 or 5. So that kind of gives you an idea-ish what, how much bigger I'm knitting this than normal. You probably can also see, I didn't realize, I didn't alternate skeins at all on this, and it kind of bit me in the butt when I got to the sleeves, and you can probably see that they're ever so slightly a different color than the body. And I didn't notice it until it was too late, but thank goodness I had enough yarn to finish both of the sleeves out of one cake, each of each color, so that the sleeves match exactly, and then I was more conscious and picked for the rest of my body another color that, or another skein that matched perfectly. So it's fine. It won't even be noticeable. It's not like I have a weird stripe cut off at some point in the sleeve or the body, so just fine. Not a problem. Glad I noticed it before I was totally done and it was blocking, because then I think I would be really, really upset. So yeah, I was hoping to have it done for this episode, but it didn't happen, so it'll be done for next one. And as I'm looking around, I realized I'm missing one project that I've been working on, so I'm going to have to go grab that real quickly. But yeah, I love how this is working up, and I'm realizing I didn't say what the yarn is at all. This is also Explore Knits and Fibers Rockies DK. The rust sort of color here is called Daybreak, and the light pinky mauve is called Nutcracker. Yeah, I feel like it's a really unique combo, so love that. This one is just all over the place, but that's okay. Because I'm knitting this so much larger than what I normally would wear, I did have to shorten the sleeves because the drop on the shoulder is going to hit me quite a bit lower than what the pattern kind of intended. So I just decreased more rapidly on my sleeves. I can't remember exactly what I did. But yeah, I just took out a couple rows in between every decrease on the sleeves, and it worked out just fine. They're a perfect length. And then the body I am going to knit a little bit shorter than what is called for in the pattern as well, just so the lengths are correct on me, even though obviously the circumference of the sweater is going to be quite large. I feel like my voice is giving out on me a little bit. We were at a concert on Saturday night, and I sang very, very loudly, and so I didn't think I lost my voice, but now that I'm sitting here and talking for like half an hour, I'm starting to feel it a little bit, so we'll see how that goes tomorrow. But I'm getting the podcast done. That's good. I was slightly worried at one point that I would have lost my voice and then I'd be skipping another week of podcasting, or podcasting sounding like a frog. So I'll take what we have. It could be a lot worse. Okay, next project that I've been working on, this is my Cardi jumper from Vert, and I am doing the striped version. I believe it is called the Marinere version, and I've got a little bit done since last time. Like I said, I was obviously paying the most attention to my sibling sweater, but now that I'm almost done it, I allowed myself to pick this up for a little bit. So you can see where the progress keeper is there. Got a good couple inches in on this, and I am now working on the front. I'm trying to figure out how this goes. So I'm working on the one front of the sweater. Cardigan. It's a cardigan. Ah, I'm holding it backwards. Here we go. So I'm working on creating the V of the cardigan on this one side here, my front left. Then I will do that on the front right, and then figure out what I'm doing for the next part. But I love how this feels so far. I think it's gonna have a gorgeous drape when it's done. And I've decided what I'm doing for my stripes. I went through all of my scrap yarn, and I did actually find, I don't know where I got this or where it came from, and the ball band in it doesn't even have this base on it. So I don't know what's going on with that. But I did find just this skein of tweed. It's undyed, and I'm 99% sure it's the exact same base as my main color here. So I am going to use this for the stripes in my cardigan. And the main color here is Woolberry Fiber Co. in Morning Hike. I think it's going to be a really nice staple. I feel like deep greens like this really feel like neutrals, and they can go with a lot of different things in my wardrobe. So I'm really excited to get this going and get to wear it. And I love me a good green or a good blue in my wardrobe, so I'm really excited. But yeah, not tons done. It's got a beautiful seam here where I've been doing all my increases. The tweed is so nice. And yeah, I'm testing this pattern for Vert because, so she had previously released this, but she's making it more size inclusive, and so she's had to make a couple changes across the whole range of the pattern, and so she's getting people to test this new version of the pattern. So yeah, I'm really excited to have been chosen to do that. I'm knitting the size 6 for this one as well. Interestingly enough, this is the first pattern that I've knit that required measurements for my shoulders as well as my bust, so I'm really excited to see how it fits, just because I feel like it's going to be even more tailored to me. So that'll be really cool. I'm excited to see how that goes. Yeah, not tons of progress on that either, but I think it's going to turn out great. So with that, that's all I have been working on over the past 3 weeks. Like I said, I was at a concert on Saturday. I don't know if you've heard of the artist Ann Wilson. I heard her, my husband and I, when we were in Nashville earlier this summer. I guess it's fall now. But earlier in the summer, we saw her at the Grand Ole Opry. His parents were so kind and bought us tickets to go with them, and so I was first introduced to her there. And then, interestingly enough, she had a concert this weekend, literally like 10 minutes from my house. So it was really exciting. I got to go see her and just hear more of her music live, and it was really fun. It was my birthday present, so that was great. And yeah, I've had a busy, this past weekend was busy with the concert. I had a girls' movie night with some friends. This coming weekend's going to be busy. It's my birthday on Friday, so doing stuff for my birthday. Also, our church, their young professionals group, is having a bonfire on my birthday, so I feel like that's going to be a really fun way to celebrate with all my friends. It's going to be a corn maze, a bonfire, and apple cider and donuts, and it'll be really fun. And then I'm going to see the Taylor Swift concert movie on Saturday, this coming Saturday, with another friend, so I'm going to be real tired. I'm already feeling tired, and I feel like I'm going to be even more tired by the end of this weekend, but it's been great, and I'm really thankful, and I've been having a lot of fun, so I feel like it's worth it. But yeah, I hope your past couple weeks have been great. It's weird. It feels weird getting back into filming again already, even though I only took a week off. So yeah, I'm glad to be back though, and I'm glad to show you what I've been working on. Let me know, of course, as always, what you've been working on down in the comments. I love to know that. It makes me so happy to see this little community that has been built around my YouTube channel. I don't know. It's just really, really fun. So let me know what you've been working on down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so. It really helps the channel out. Hit that like button and the notification bell as well if you want to know every time I upload a new video. And I will see you next week. Bye!